Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Remember this video. It's a body camera footage showing two Richmond County deputies deliberately turning off their body cameras just after striking a man on a call.
Now, this was not the first, but the third body camera violation for both deputies seen in that video. At the end of the day, they both get to keep their badges.
We uncovered this last year, but we didn't back down on the story. We wanted to know how many body camera violations Richmond County Sheriff's Office has had since using them. Take a look.
Get on the ground.
On February 10th, Deputy Charlie Walker and Deputy Christopher Moore's body cameras worked as mirrors for each other. Both cameras showing the two deputies using force.
Put your arm down.
Cursing.
Get on the ground.
And we saw it, especially in regards to the language. It was appalling.
And the most alarming, the two whispering to each other to turn off their cameras. Tell me your reaction to that. I mean, that is obviously unacceptable.
Yes, ma'am, and that's absolutely why we have policies, and we did take a pretty severe disciplinary action against both of the individuals.
Richmond County Sheriff's Office policy says violations are punishable by severe sanctions, including termination. One captain reviewing the case even recommended termination. But reports show both deputies were ordered 7-day suspension without pay, 12 months probation, and to write an essay and to pay the man back for the bike and phone he lost after they dropped him off miles away from his home. Do you feel like in this case the punishment fit the violation?
Yes, absolutely. I think what the sheriff and colonel and I looked at was these were two very young, inexperienced deputies. We called on them all the time to deal on highly volatile and quickly developing situations.
News 12 found when deputies with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office started wearing body cameras back in 2015 to July 2017, RCSO had 47 body camera violations. Of those, 40 failed to turn on their body cameras for various reasons. One report describes a deputy forgetting to turn his on during a 145-mile-per-hour chase. He told his supervisor he was focused on driving safely and didn't think about turning on the camera. We found of the 47 violations, 3 deputies actually turned their body cameras off. When you look back at these numbers, do you feel they're high or do you feel they're low?
I feel they're absolutely low when you consider that over years, we're talking about we probably have 300,000 or 400,000 citizen contacts a year.
Violation reports also show of the 47 violations, 0 resulted in termination. Chief Clayton says they believe in progressive discipline.
It's about changing behavior, and if we can change a deputy's behavior without terminating them, we don't want to have to do that unless, again, it is intentional.
Neighboring Sheriff's Office, Columbia County's violations don't even compare to Richmond County because they don't even use body-worn cameras. A lawsuit against Columbia County Sheriff Clay Whittle claims he and the county have a policy or practice of not providing body cameras and providing only a limited number of dashboard cameras. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office declined to interview with us, but said they have no plans to purchase body cameras at this time.
I see agencies that don't do it, and you have to ask, why not? The whole idea here is to foster transparency and accountability for both parties, for the citizens and our deputies.
And to put this all into context, RCSO has hundreds of deputies. This data was taken over several years, and reading through, several who failed to turn their body cameras on had technical issues, some swept up in a fast-paced call, and some like this one call that we told you about back in May.
So no one's claiming this is a widespread problem by any means for Richmond County, but they do like to focus on the one problem and fix it. But they say they want to make this a learning example for all the rest of the deputies too, right? Right.
And one thing that stood out to me, Chief Clayton, he'd called both deputies that were in that original video, called their supervisors ahead of the interview. And Clayton, Chief Clayton told me that he says they're some of their supervisors' best deputies in that zone now. But another aspect of this, RCSO says complaints from 2015 to 2016, that first year they had it, went down about 50% at the Sheriff's Office, and they believe body cameras have something to do with that transparency on both sides. So it was a good conversation with them, kind of figuring out where they are, how many complaints, you know, in the grand scheme of things they were getting.
Good to see where we are when you take a step back from it all, Kelly.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Watch, turn it off, Cops whisper to turn off body cams as they beat and rob man. 2 cops were caught on video beating and stealing from a man before they conspired to turn off their body cameras to cover up what they would do next. By Matt Agarist, January 25, 2018. Augusta, Georgia. 2 Richmond County Sheriff's deputies recorded themselves beating a man and breaking department policy to cover it up, yet neither of them were fired. Their disturbing actions were captured on both of their body cams, that is, until they turned them off to hide their crimes. Deputy Charlie Walker and Deputy Christopher Moores were shaking down a man on his bicycle last October when the brutality and subsequent cover-up was captured on film. "I'm not going to tell you again, get on the fucking ground," one deputy yells at the nonviolent man who can't seem to comply fast enough with the officers, who then began beating him. "Get on the fucking ground," the cop yells at the man, who is apparently confused as to why he is being stopped. As the officers beat the man with their batons and put him in handcuffs, that's when they made sure not to catch any more of their misconduct on film. "Turn it off," the deputy whispers, letting each other know that they did not want to record what was going to happen next. Advertisement. The man was then kidnapped by police, who had robbed him of his phone and bicycle, and he was then dropped off far across town, miles from home, with no means of getting back or calling someone for a ride. WRDW's Kelly Willie confronted RCSO Chief Patrick Clayton about the incident, who stood by his choice not to fire these 2 cops. "What's your reaction to that?" "That's obviously unacceptable," Willie asked. "Yes, ma'am. That's why we have policies, and we did take pretty severe disciplinary action against both individuals," said Clayton. According to RCSO's own policy, what the officers did is punishable by severe sanctions and termination. However, they received nothing severe and were certainly not fired, despite a captain in the department recommending their termination. As WDRW reported, violation reports show both deputies were ordered 7 days suspension without pay, 12 months probation to write an essay and to pay the man back for the bike and phone he lost after they dropped him off miles away from his home. They had to write an essay, got a vacation, and were forced to repay the man for belongings they took from him and lost for beating him, kidnapping him, dumping him off far from home, and covering the entire incident up. Sounds fair, right? When asked if he felt the punishment fit the crime in this instance, the chief was absolutely sure it did. "Yes, absolutely," said Clayton. "I think what the sheriff and colonel looked at were these were 2 young, inexperienced deputies. We call them all the time to deal with highly volatile, quickly developing situations." WRDW found out that just in the last 2 years that the department has worn body cameras, RCSO deputies violated policy 47 times. Not a single cop was fired for it either. As to why the cops weren't fired, the chief says it is to teach cops to change their behavior. Although they committed a fireable offense, according to the department, the tiny little slap on the wrist likely serves as a deterrent from future criminal behavior. It's about changing behavior, and I think what you will find are complaints and incidents like that have gone down and down more, and if we can change a deputy's behavior without terminating them, we don't want to have to do that unless it's intentional, Clayton said. However, a vacation is hardly motivation to prevent a cop from committing a crime. Arguably, it acts more as an incentive to do so. Beat and rob a man, get a vacation.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me, and I'm sick of it. So I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.